Hello, Hugh here, politically challenged. So apparently the MPs have taken control over what happens with Brexit from Theresa May's government, which means one of many things. It means, well, let's go for it. It means they might try to revoke Article 50. That's a possibility. It means they might try and go for a second referendum again, even though that was already denied. That vote was already denied. Well, they already lost that vote. They might try to, some people might try to push for a no deal, other people might try to push against the no deal. What else? They might try to get people to, well, our country to stay in the customs union. They might try and go for that Canada Plus deal. Or, as I said before, we might just stay in the EU entirely. Maybe we'll get a soft Brexit, maybe we'll get a hard Brexit. There are 7 possible options, and 3 of them, including the second referendum, have already been voted against. I'll put the link in the description with other examples of this. The reason I'm making this short video is partly because I didn't make a video yesterday, and partly because I just wanted to briefly talk about it. I also wanted to briefly talk about the Israel strike on Gaza. I mean, there's more information of that coming to fruition, but obviously I'm not exactly pro-Israel, but at the same time I understand it from both sides. You've got the Israelis wanting their birthright, their land, but at the same time you've got Palestinians wanting to stay in the land that they've been on, for generations. I mean, I don't like the fact that, the Israeli Zionist regime, or should I just call it the Zionist regime, that they go out of their way to pick on Palestinians and, take their land away from them. Even the land that was, theirs according to the UN, they've taken some of that land and they're creating more quote unquote illegal settlements. I don't like that at all. I don't like how the Israeli military treat the Palestinians. Then there's African migrants who are asylum seekers and refugees from, certain parts of Africa that are war-torn, so they're trying to leave and find a better place, but Israel have basically given them, 90 days to leave. So I don't like that at all, even though I have to make the argument that not all of those people would have come in legally if they were just, traveling to seek asylum, but perhaps not all of them came in legally. That may be an argument, but at the same time, I feel as if, the very fact that these were European refugees that came to Israel, and they wanted to find their birthright and stay there and get the land and take it from the Arabs and the Palestinians, and it was promised to them. And a lot of the people who are living in Israel, their ancestors were refugees from Eastern Europe, Jewish people, refugees because of what happened with the Holocaust, everything. Now they're telling refugees who are in a similar position to them, oh, you got 90 days to leave. I don't really like that. I feel like it kind of defeats the point of places like Israel. Israel is a place where people came from different parts of the world, settled there, so that they can, find a place where it's peaceful. And then while the people are trying to live, whether it's Palestinians or Israelis or Arabs or African migrants or anybody else living there, there ain't no peace, because you got Hamas bombing people, you got the Israeli Zionist regime bombing people. There's no peace there. You got all those protests that happened last year, people dying. I mean, people getting shot. That's not peace. So I think everything that's been happening with the with the conflicts there, it kind of defeats the purpose of what the Zionist regime is supposed to, promote, which is a place for Israelis to, live in peace. They can't live in peace because the Israelis that don't want the conflict, they have to deal with this nonsense as well. Anybody that goes against the Zionist regime, even if they're Israeli, they may have to be punished. I don't like that at all. Of course, I'll add some links to the description too. What else can I talk about briefly? Okay, first of all, what's happening with America right now. So it turns out that after that 2-year report with Mueller and everything, that Mueller report, turns out that neither Trump nor anybody close to him has been found to have colluded with Russia, There's been no collusion. The only thing that they can try to get Trump on now is obstruction of justice. Like, but I'm not going to blame the people within the American establishment for doing their best to figure out what really happened with the 2016 election. Because whether you're left wing, right wing, you have to admit there was some shady business going on both sides. You got the Cambridge Analytica situation, but you've also got like Hillary Clinton, Trump. Neither of them were perfect candidates, let's be honest. And both sides were trying to peddle some half-truths, trying to make the other party seem worse than the other. It just, I could go into it, but I've got things to do today, so more on that later on. But the point is, they've been found to have not colluded with Russia. They were found to have not worked with the IRA, not the Irish IRA, a different IRA, a research agency. They've found to be not colluding with that agency to spread misinformation about, Hillary or the Democrats during the 2016 election. All they're trying to get him on now is obstruction of justice. I'm not going to blame the American establishment for doing their best to figure out what really happened. I'm going to blame the mainstream media for peddling these lies for the past 2 years. It's like, these people were still trying to find evidence. It was an investigation, but no matter what the evidence said, whether it was leading towards collusion or leading away from it, even when there were reports coming out saying there was no collusion whatsoever, even before what was happening this week, there were reports saying, oh, there's no collusion. But what did the mainstream media do? Oh, this is the final days of Trump. Every few weeks, every few days, they talk about how it's the final days of Trump, how Trump is going to be impeached. Oh, this is the last, these are the, and I believed them. I was like, oh, damn, maybe they've got some real strong, hard evidence. It turned out they had nothing. So the mainstream media was spending 2 and a bit years telling the whole world, especially the American multinational news corporations, telling the whole world that their own president was working with the so-called enemy, Russia, to colluding with Russia to undermine American democracy. Now, of course, Trump did go on record saying, oh, my supporters, my voters, please vote for me twice or whatever, or vote for my representatives twice. He did say that, but the man, that's something you can pin on him because that's what he actually said. But the man, it's clear that the man wasn't actually colluding with other parties to get himself elected through illegitimate means. At least that's what the summary of the report suggests. It's William Barr's summary. It's not the full report. People are still waiting for the full report. But you've got people who have been begging for the outcome of this report for the past 2 years. Now they're saying, oh, I don't care what's on the report. He's still guilty. It's ridiculous to me. I mean, I feel like the mainstream media should do a lot better reporting when it comes to stuff like this. I mean, if you're going to slander somebody for 2 years, could you at least get some proper evidence before you do it? Whether it's Trump or anybody else. I mean, of course, you can make the argument that, people like Bush, people like Obama, they were subject to mainstream media bias as well. You can say that with almost every president in modern recent history. Yeah, Obama had some tough times with Fox News and other people making fun of him for the smallest of things, like his tie, what he eats, whatever. Like, you can make that argument, but it doesn't matter who it is, whether it's Obama, Trump, or somebody else. You don't make those slanderous remarks for 2 years. These people had barely any evidence, and now it turns out they had no evidence to support this idea that he was colluding with Russia. But the mainstream media for 2 and a bit years, or at least 2 years, were talking about, oh, well, it's the end of Trump, something that I've already said before. They were basically making out that Trump was going to be impeached as soon as possible. But now Trump's almost unstoppable now. Like, this report was supposed to find out everything about his financial statements, his tax returns, and of course the Russia situation, and they haven't found any proper evidence for any of it. Now they're just trying to, punish him for obstruction. And I'm sure they won't, well, I'm not sure. I would believe that they won't be able to find much evidence for that either, at least nothing as strong enough as to get him removed from the office. And even if they do find evidence of obstruction, like, that's a bridge we'll have to get to when we cross to it. If it is strong enough, if this is strong enough to get him, impeached, then okay, so be it. But since they've spent 2 years trying to find evidence towards colluding with Russia, and they haven't found any, and they figured out that they haven't spread it, they didn't help any agencies spread misinformation, it kind of defeats the point. Now, I would like to thank you for watching this video. Please like, comment, subscribe, share this video. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.